got the thumbs up from Instagram. We got the thumbs up from Facebook. Hey, y'all. Frank Kern here. Hope everybody is well. Okay, so we're double streaming right now. That's Facebook. Your Instagram. I got my phone in my hand. Brad's over there on the computer setting up the post ID for some sort of technical fanciness. And before we officially get started, I will answer some questions that people had. So the purpose of this class really is exactly what this is. Our little workshop we're going to do today is I'm going to walk you through how intent-based branding works. I don't want to say we stumbled over this methodology. It's probably been working forever. We've just applied it to strategic traffic methodology. So this is really, really cool. This is working really, really well. Before I show you that though, while we're doing the tech stuff in the background, I'll answer a couple of questions. Okay, so my man John Cho wrote in earlier, said there's always a number in everything. What is the number on average of content going viral? If we keep producing good content, what's the average number of content going viral? Dude, I have no idea, and I don't care. Free is delightful. It's wonderful, because viral traffic is free traffic or whatever. That's great. The challenge is we can't control it, and we don't really know who the target is and the source of the traffic. So in many cases, it's worthless. There's a term called earned media that advertising agencies use. So if they make a viral thing, they'll be like, this post got $53 million in earned media. That means it was shared, and then they see how many impressions it got, and they kind of back end the value of that traffic. It's all bullshit. Yes, it is all complete bullshit. It is a vanity metric that is often used to justify an agency's fee. So I have no idea of how many good posts you make, how many of them will go viral, because we buy our traffic. I'm going to share our strategy with you on how we do that today. One fellow says, how would I apply intent-based branding strategy to luxury real estate? I'll show you how on this video. That's pretty cool. All right, and I think that's everything that's really in here I'm going to be addressing in our training. So I'll go ahead and get started. It is 4:56 p.m. Pacific time on whatever today is, like the 18th. And so we are, in fact, legitimately live, no shenanigans going on. If you're watching this after 4:59, then it's recorded and it'll say, or it won't say live on the thing there. So on you Instagram people, I think it all goes away anyway. So here's the deal. We found something very, very exciting, and this is cool. And the name I've given it is intent-based branding. I don't know if I created that name or not. I haven't looked. For all I know, it can have a very different definition. But what that really means is a fancy way of saying you're building your brand while simultaneously selling stuff. So it's not brand building for the sake of brand building, like traditional ads and all of that kind of business. This is brand building for the sake of selling, and we can really use what I'm going to share with you to accelerate the sales process, to really accelerate that building of a bond and a relationship between you and your prospects and your market, and not only get sales, but really build that bond across like a really, really huge group of people. Now, before I show you all this stuff and explain everything here, I want you guys to kind of show them what we're doing right now, because the irony of this is not lost on me. All right, so we're in the studio right now. This is my office studio. And we've got probably, this stuff is so freaking expensive. It's probably like $100-something grand worth of video equipment in here, and we're filming all of this on the iPhone right now, which is great. We don't even need any of this stuff for what we're doing, which is really, really helpful, actually, because it levels the playing field a lot. But that just dawned on me. I'm like, we're just three dudes in here surrounded by all this stuff that is completely unnecessary. So here's the deal. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, Facebook did this thing where they put a little something on everyone's business page, kind of on the left of the page, kind of towards the bottom of the page, and it said info and ads. And maybe some of you funnel hacker guys are probably really excited about that, because if you click on that on someone's business page, you can see every ad they're running, kind of. Most of the ads they're running on Facebook. Well, you're never going to believe what happened. We got copied. We got copied like a mofo, like that. So we're running our book funnel ad. Everything's working. We've been running the same funnel for 2 years. It's been fantastic. And all of a sudden, things just went totally bonkers. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? So Brad, who's behind that camera, y'all can see him on Instagram now. You can see the lovely and talented Brad Bearden. He buys all of our media internally for our company. He's our CMO. He was like, dude, I just went and looked, and there were like hundreds of people within like funnel hacking Facebook groups blatantly copying your stuff. And I was like, well, okay, I hope it works for them, but it didn't do me any favors, because now everybody's out there running the same ad that I was. So I'm like, fine, I know what I'll do. Plenty of people can copy the actual words in an ad. Plenty of people can actually copy the pictures in your ad and the strategy behind it. Nobody can ever copy the relationship and the bond that you have with your customer base and your prospects. So what we decided to do was basically say, funnel hack this, bitches, and we started to really go very heavy on going live on multiple platforms and delivering as much value as we possibly could. And our scheme here was a little bit self-serving, okay? So at the time, I remember this is a couple weeks ago, at the time I'd thought to myself, well, I think I'm going to teach a class about this model of consulting that's called Rainmaker Consulting. So I started giving away a lot of good value about that concept. And in those videos, I started talking about, here's how I help private clients, and I was talking about my most profitable work being done in the capacity of a rainmaker. And the purpose of that was like phase one of intent-based branding, which is really called seeding or priming. So I wasn't trying to sell anything. I didn't say, hey, go buy a course. I didn't even say there was a course that existed. Instead, I was always saying, all right, when I'm working with clients in my capacity as rainmaker, I'm trying to prime that, trying to seed that concept so when I release it later, it'll be really ready to go. And here's what happens, right? So releasing all these videos, and then I get a call. And it's my friend that says, hey, I know this person, they want to become a client of yours. They saw your video on Facebook, and they want to be one of your private clients. I'm like, oh, okay. That's weird. I wasn't really talking about that. I didn't try to sell it at all. And then literally 24 hours, so I sold that person. 24 hours, another dude messages our page and is like, hey, I saw your videos. I'm interested in becoming one of your private clients. Now, I never said become a private client. I simply said that I do that kind of work. It's pretty cool. And then here's rainmakery stuff. And then content. No, had no intention whatsoever of trying to get more private clients. Long story short, those two people became clients. This was last week. All right, so last week, those two people become clients. $76,000 in combined revenue from those folks, which is unbelievable. Then last Thursday, I started making a test offer, and the test offer was, hey, this intent-based branding is pretty cool. I'm looking for a couple guinea pigs to let us actually do these commercials for you. Because really what a good content piece is, essentially I want you to think of it as a long-form commercial. All right, now since then, we've now had 4 people, 2 at the guinea pig level, 1 at the all-time super pro level, 4 people, or 3 at the guinea pig level, 1 at the all-time super pro level. 3 people have now signed up for that service. So now our total revenue, if you extrapolate it out, because this is a longer term play, that professional services thing, is $166,000 plus another 60. It is whatever that is, 212 something, whatever 166 plus 60 is. Never try to do math when you're live on camera. It's a freaking lot, right? And we never tried to really pitch anything except the end. So that's the experiment, right? Now here's what's really interesting, okay? So during this experiment phase, that started about 14 days ago, 15 days ago exactly, by the way. So during the experiment phase, what I would do is I would do a lot of lives like I'm doing now, and then we would boost them and we would run paid traffic to them. So we built this big audience of people, a lot of them strangers, who would watch a lot of my video content, and they were, apparently, one would think that they liked my stuff. Otherwise, why would they watch it? Maybe they were had insomnia. Maybe that was it. But the ones who weren't insomniacs or just masochistic or whatever, they liked it, okay? So I was like, I'm going to offer this professional services thing that we do, because we now have an entire project within my company where we make these long-form commercials for you. I'll tell you about it later when we're done. I'm going to make a 60-second video, 60-second video, and I'm going to show it to the people that watch the videos in this experiment, and I'm going to see what happens. And that video is going to say, hey, we're doing this thing. If you want to become a client, go to this webpage, right? So it was 60 seconds, like a regular TV commercial spot. Well, a longer one, but still, you get the idea. So we did that yesterday. We have spent $342. Well, shoot, I did the math a minute ago. I think it's $342.53. We'll just round it up to $350 total on that one little 60-second ad. We got 5 people. Go to the website. You can see it's Kern Branding, not Frank Kern Branding, just kernbranding.com. They went to the website. They saw the offer. They were like, hot damn, I want this. And they signed in the little thing to talk to me. I've spoken to 2 of them. 1 of them has already signed on to become a client. That is potentially $120,000 worth of revenue over the next 12 months or so. You never know how long they'll stay, but we plan on doing an exceptionally good job for our clients, so they'll stay forever. There's no reason why they wouldn't. So I'll take those numbers all day long. So I've had this idea that, wait a minute, once we started running this experiment, and now especially since you've seen yesterday's crazy numbers, like, man, I gotta break this down exactly how to do it for everybody. So you can try it, because think about this, like if you're trying to sell stuff directly on Facebook all the time, it's super frustrating. I know, because we have like 970 something people that we coach every Friday on buying media and running ads, and that's their biggest challenge. So here's the deal. In a nutshell, here's what intent-based branding is. Now I'm going to give you the deeper dive of it, so don't like leave after I tell you this, or else you're going to screw it up, okay? Not because you're dumb, because you'll just make like mistakes that I have already made. Intent-based branding is essentially this. You find out the exact type of content that's going to provide the most value to your ideal prospect, and you present it to them in a way that is going to cause them to bond with you on an emotional and psychological level. So you're actually helping them, all right, and you're also creating a bond with them so they like you. Once you've done that, then you start showing them ads that pitch things but don't break that bond. That's the big picture strategy. Here's why I never did it. I always thought social media was dumb, except for using it as an advertising medium. I still think it's dumb, except for using it as an advertising medium. All the people that are like going social media crazy, guess what? They're using it as a freaking advertising medium. The challenge is most of them have this one mentality, which is, if I build up enough followers on social media, I'll make a bunch of money. Used to be true until the algorithms changed. So little less than a year ago, Facebook changed their algorithm with something called organic reach, and now trying to get free traffic from Facebook at scale. I'm not talking to you old dudes out there that are like, hey, I did something, I got 50 people or 100 people to watch it. That doesn't count. If you're trying to get real traffic for free from social, it's bad. All right? Oh, it's bad for your wallet, basically. I mean, yeah, that's adorable. You got 1,000 likes or whatever for a couple posts, but you can't eat likes, right? I've tried, they're horrible. Okay? It's a good diet to go on. I mean, you really slim down on the like diet. So my mentality was like, well, this is all stupid because there's a bunch of people trying to get free stuff. It never occurred to me that you could create long-form content on social that's really good and then pay to have that content viewed by complete strangers and then retarget those complete strangers later, all right? It's a long day, all right? So take it easy on me. And it's 1,000 degrees in here, by the way, if y'all can see the lights. So it's like, all these lights probably emit 1 billion degrees of heat, so we're all gonna be just like, in 30 minutes, I'm gonna look like a meth addict or something because it's so hot, okay? So this is like kind of the big picture thing here. The whole idea around this is to genuinely help people by actually helping them with your content. I'll break out how to do the content in a minute, and then use that as ads that you pay for. Don't pay me for your ads. I'm not trying to sell you ads. You pay Facebook, right? So there's a strategy on how to do it. I'll walk you through it. But before, we got to understand the process, okay? So here's how you like build the bond with people. Because the big purpose of intent-based branding is to build a really cool bond with people, because number one, it's freaking cool. You're actually helping people. You're doing a good thing. Number two, it makes selling easy. So if we look at the process of actually selling stuff, all right? So fellas, if you can show them this, there's 3 steps to it. Okay, whether you're doing it on social, whether you're doing it through traditional email marketing, it doesn't matter. Here it is. Step number 1 is pre-framing. Okay, so here's what pre-framing means. Pre-framing means they're going to draw a conclusion about you before they ever consume any of your content, before they ever consider buying anything from you. All right, that's what pre-framing means. Here's the deal. Okay, you know how they say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover? Yeah, you shouldn't, but guess who does? Everybody, including me, right? I'm a shallow person. I'll admit it, we all do. Okay, so if we know this, that people are going to assign like a label to you, okay, the minute they see any of your stuff, we know they're going to do it. Doesn't it make logical sense that we would ask ourselves the question of, well, if we know they're going to assign a label to us, what label do we want them to assign? That's what pre-framing is, all right? So that's pre-framing. That's step number 1. They form an opinion before they ever consume any content. The next phase here is indoctrination, all right? So this is what this stands for here, indoctrination. So what indoctrination means is that they now create a bond with you, right? And so you've helped them, they're getting value from you. For lack of a better word, they're your fans, but like real fans, you know, not like a like on Facebook, like, but people who actually consume your stuff and they're like, oh yeah, I like that person. That person helped me, right? The final phase is conversion. Now, one of the greatest processes to ever like really illustrate this that I think everyone watching this can relate to is a classic internet marketing funnel. Sometimes like a product launch does this perfectly. So a product launch works like this. I'm sorry guys that the boxes are so small. Step number one, a bunch of people will email their list, right? In the email, typically, if you've ever been like the subject of a product launch, when you got 9 million affiliates hitting your inbox every 10 seconds or whatever. So if you've ever been on the receiving end of a big product launch, you're getting emails and the emails are saying, hey, you got to check out this video by so-and-so, he's amazing, blah, blah, blah. Guess what that is? That's pre-framing. Your opinion is being influenced before you ever see anything. All right, then you get to the opt-in page, right? And the opt-in page is going to have, I'm just going to write it here, opt. Now remember, this isn't what I'm telling you to do. I'm telling you that this is a classic example of this process working, so that's why I'm illustrating. So the opt-in page is going to have some images, some copy, maybe have video on there, whatever. That's still pre-framing, right? You haven't consumed any content. You're just seeing like, oh, all right. You might see the person they're talking about and be like, that guy looks like Charles Manson. I don't want to opt in on there. Or this webpage looks sketchy. Looks like they're going to try to sell me generic Viagra from Nigeria. Right? Can you get that? Do they make it? I think if they do, just have them send me a couple crates. Okay, so you never know. All right. So anyway, so that's another example of pre-framing. Now you've opted in. You formed an opinion before you ever did opt in, by the way, because of your email that you received. That's pre-framing and the opt-in page itself. And now you're going to get typically what? A series of videos. It's video 1, video 2, video 3. So in a traditional product launch environment, that's exactly how that works. You opt in, you get some videos. What do the videos do? The videos are providing you value in advance. They're telling you stories. If they're doing a good job, they're building that bond with you, right? They're building that bond. They're making you like them. And hopefully, if they're doing it right, they're genuinely helping you get to where you want to go. And only then, at the end of the launch, does the sales letter come into play, right? So this is a classic example of this process at work. What I'm telling you right now, this process is great. Email, dying, okay? It's dying. Anyone that has a big list out there that does a lot of email marketing, I'm not talking about you guys with like 10 people on your list, like, I emailed 10 people and one of them wrote me back, I'm crushing it. No, I mean, if you have like 100,000, 200,000 people on a list or whatever, think about your open rates and your response from your email this year versus last year versus the year before. It's going away, right? We now use this framework on social through intent-based branding, and it happens way faster. So we can indoctrinate and we can pre-frame right now today, and you can start making offers to those very same people like tomorrow. So it's really, really cool. So here's how we do it. All right, I'm going to get rid of this because it's going to mess me up. Okay. This has to be perfectly neat. I mean, we don't want to mess up this, right? We don't want to mess up this level of professionalism here. Okay, so here's the deal. You got you and you got them. Where the overlaps here, you got the bond, all right? Intent-based branding is all about building, creating, building, maintaining, nurturing, and strengthening that bond, all right? And you can't fake this, by the way. You have to actually give a damn about the people that you're trying to sell stuff to, or else they're going to see right through you. I mean, you can't get away with anything in the world of social, right? It ain't going to happen. So you can't like fake it. You have to genuinely care. But your mission, the very first mission, is to really build this bond. Okay, so what we want to figure out now here is how do we create the bond? How do we do it? Okay, well, in a nutshell, the very first thing we want to do in the bonding is to create what's called affinity with the marketplace that you're trying to influence, right? And we have two levels of affinity. The first level is going to be surface. And this is often going to be based on your appearance, right? It's going to be based on the graphics and the images. If you're shooting video, I do a lot of video, it's going to be based on the set and setting of your video. What do they see in the video? Is it well lit? Does it look slick, professional, Hollywood, gritty, homemade? All of that stuff matters, okay? That is surface level affinity. By the way, if you've been watching any of my content, I've been publishing, I've been spending a lot of money on ads, like sending traffic to these videos. You'll notice they're all shot on an iPhone. Some of them have some graphics, some of them have some music, but none of them have the Hollywood quality. Even though I've got, the big fancy house and I got the big fancy cars and everything, I don't really make it a point of showing them in the videos. That's by design. I'm not saying you should copy my style. I'm just telling you it's by design to appeal on the surface level. Why do you think that might be, by the way? If I got all the crap the big fancy house and the fancy cars and all that crap. How come I'm not showing it? How come in my videos I'm dressed like this and I'm not trying to look all uppity and fancy? I'll tell you why. Because you guys have had damn near enough of internet dudes standing in front of their fleet of exotic cars going, you could be rich too, and I'm going to show you how, right? Doesn't work anymore. Well, it might work for those dudes, but you've had enough. I'm trying to appeal to the surface level affinity here. My goal is to have my viewer go, I can relate to this guy. He's just like me. I get it. He's not trying to come off as showy. He really cares about me. So that's your surface level affinity, you see? So all of this stuff is very carefully done. It just so happens I am a pretty normal guy. I do have fancy cars and stuff because I think they're cool, but really my clients, they're to pick up my clients in. I drive one of those boxy, very uncomfortable Mercedes G-Wagons all day. So your second level of affinity is now your deep level of affinity. And this is where the magic is. You could look like a weirdo. You could talk funny. You could be little. You could be like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, just come up with any freaking reason why someone wouldn't like you. And if you can have affinity and a bond at the deep level, then you've got it made. I'll prove it to you. Years ago, there was a man named Glenn W. Turner. Glenn Turner was a smaller dude. Of course, to me, a lot of people are smaller dudes, but whatever. He was like probably about that tall or something. And he was born with a hair lip and had like a very noticeable, this is before you could really fix it. Like this was out in the late 70s and early 80s and stuff. So he was like really, really noticeable speech impediment. All right, so he's like this little dude, talked super funny, had a record, okay? Crushed it. He would mesmerize stadiums. They loved him. His fans thought he was the greatest person ever. He had this entire series. It was called Challenge to America, and it was phenomenal, right? And of course, again, and then he's got involved in multi-level marketing, and things didn't work out. But we don't care about that part. We don't want to emulate that part. The point I'm trying to get across to you is don't get caught up on getting the surface level right. Don't try to make yourself all fancy. Just be who you are. And really, we want to focus on this. So what really drives the deep bond with somebody? Well, I'll show you. I'm going to give you the formula for it right now. Okay? Are y'all into it? They liking it over there, camera folks?
Oh yeah.
All right. We got 7 or 8 people watching already.
Something like that.
All right, that's good. It is it's late now, and the rest of the world is even late here. Okay. So here's the deal. Okay. The first thing we have to understand. Thank God this is true. I mean, you don't have any idea how lucky we are. At least me. Nobody cares about us, right? Which is it sounds like almost, what's the word, nihilistic or something, if that's even the right context of that word. It sounds cool. They say it in Big Lebowski, right? Don't worry, Walter, these men are nihilists. Okay, it sounds like kind of fatalistic that nobody cares about us, but think about how lucky we are. Everybody just cares about themselves, and that's good, because we need to make it our sole freaking focus to show those people that we can help them and that everything we do is about them, okay? And so here's phase 1 of how we do it. Everybody that you're trying to sell to is here, and they want to get here, right? It is our job to give them content that can help them get from here to here. If you look at Tony Robbins, Big Buddy, is how I always like to tease him and call him Big Buddy because he is really freaking huge. I'm 6'2" and 240, and I feel like a dwarf standing next to Tony Robbins. It's unbelievable. So someone's here, they're unmotivated, they're unhappy, they feel out of control, they feel like they don't have any certainty, they feel like the relationships in their lives are bad. He gives them content, they consume the content, they feel better, right? Very, very simple. Your job is to figure out what we call in intent-based branding, your core messaging pillars. Or if my Spanish friend Hector would say, Hector, this is for you, pillars. My man, so when he says it, I'll be like, dude, say it again. Pillars, right? Because it sounds so amazing. I wish I had that accent. So you want to figure out your core messaging pillars. Your core messaging pillars are always going to be about what are the immediate steps that someone can take to get from unhappy, not getting the results that they want, to getting the results that you can help them get, okay? Here's this in action, all right? Let's look at two of the most, like, off the top of my head that I know anyway, because I'm not a big social media follower, right? I'm an advertiser, but I don't really watch a lot of people until recently. So two people that are on my radar because I like them both. Number one, Grant Cardone, okay? So Grant's audience, not making enough money, no mo. I'm not saying they all don't have money, but you know what I mean. Their income isn't what they want it to be. I mean, for all we know, people watching are like, oh, we have $10 million. I wish I had 11. Who knows, right? But they're like wanting more financial certainty, and they want to get to a bunch of mo. Okay? I don't feel like writing money. I guess I could have just drawn the dollar sign, whatever. So, all y'all probably know Grant. He's awesome. I know him personally. He's a good dude, funny guy, a little bit crazy, but in the good way. All right? If you watch my man Grant, he's got 3 core messages that he puts out there. 3. Numero uno is I almost misspelled school. You didn't learn to spell in school. You didn't learn about money right in school. If you watch Grant, he's like, look, man, school ain't going to teach it to you. The traditional Wall Street guys are trying to rip you off. Your parents' model of building wealth, it didn't work. You got to get your money right. That's message number 1. Message number 2 is real estate. He's always educating his market on the value and the importance of buying multifamily real estate. I think he's onto something with that, by the way. I think, but I'm not an investment guy, so don't listen to anything I say about anything other than advertising ever. Okay? But anyway, that's his other core message, right? This third one is sales. Okay? If you were to go, now my man's been on social for like ever, and he probably makes 7,000 years of content a day. He's got a time machine. I don't know how he does it. He's constantly on video. If you were to take like the 9 billion hours of video that my man has shot and run them through a filter, that filter is going to spit 99% of those videos out into one of these categories. These are the core messages, right? These are the ones. If you look at another dude, Gary Vaynerchuk, who I don't know personally, but I like to because he seems like he's pretty cool. I might be able to out-curse him, by the way. I wonder if I could. I don't know. It's impressive, his use of profanity. I think I wouldn't use as much profanity, but I would be a little more creative with it, I think. You know, like just disturbingly creative. I would combine profanities that really shouldn't be combined. That's how I would try to win that right there. I won't say them now, but I'll just let you use your imagination. That's almost worse, isn't it? To like imagine now what the most disgusting combination of profane words are. Put them in the comments here if you want to. Actually, don't. I think Facebook might hurt us if we do that. Okay, so if we look at Gary's, right now, I haven't listened to enough of his stuff to really get this down. This is just from my observation, right? So again, I don't know him personally, but I do like his work, and I agree with him on a lot of points. Number 1, he talks about the opportunity. Okay? One of the messages that he puts out there, which is 100% spot on, by the way, is we have never seen an advertising opportunity like this ever, period, and we might not again, and he's right. Like social, I'll tell you how to think about social media in a minute, but he's basically, social media is a big deal. It's a big opportunity for us if we do it right. So that's message number 1. Okay? Message number 2 is going to be hustle. He says it a lot more articulately than that, but if you watch his stuff, there's a lot of mindset. Hey, you got to get your mind right. You got to hustle. You got to work. This isn't easy. He loves to say, hey, you got to be ready to eat crap for 10 years or whatever. And he's, I mean, not literally, I don't think he's into that kind of thing, but I think you know what I'm saying, right? And then he's got the third message. The message itself, super important, okay? Super important. If the guy's here, he wants to get here, you need to find out what 3 core pillars of messaging are going to be most magnetic to him and are going to be the most helpful to him. That's the most helpful. But there's another layer to this, okay? So I will erase this, all right? I'll get rid of this. So now, we've got these core messages, we're giving good content, but man cannot live off of good content alone, all right? You can be giving the greatest content in the world, but you might not establish that bond because you're missing something. And what you're going to be missing is going to be emotion. Okay? Every piece of content that you have, to the best of your ability, this is easier said than done. All right, this is where we come in, actually, if you work with us. Every piece of content that you've got has to be able to convey some type of emotion. You want to instill a type of emotion into the minds of your prospect. Because if they keep feeling that emotion, while they're consuming your content over and over again, an anchor is going to be created. So I know you guys are all deep students of psychology, at least when it comes down to the marketing and advertising standpoint. If we can anchor a certain feeling to you in your prospect's mind, not based on like BS manipulation, but based on genuine goodwill, not only are you going to be helping them, which is huge, like welcome to the club of one person, everyone else is just yelling at them, you're the only person helping them. It's pretty easy fight to win right now, but you're also going to be anchoring this emotion to them. Think about Big Buddy, Tony Robbins, right? People just hear the name Tony Robbins, they feel pumped up, right? I mean, like, he's become a verb. People are so anchored to this emotion of like being when they hear Tony, right? Like, oh, man, I'm going to get all Tony Robbins up today. Like, that's when you know you've done it right. You know you've anchored people that strongly to an emotion is when they use your name as a verb, right? So how do we do it, right? And how can we do it quickly? So the way to do it is through story, all right? And we have a couple types. Aspirational. Motivational. And inspiration. And man, I can't spell on camera. Okay, that's ancient Egyptian for inspirational right there. Don't try this at home, kids. Okay, don't try this at home. All right, so essentially these are the types of stories. These are the way you're going to go. Aspirational essentially means, okay, you're going to show them something that they will aspire to. Like paint a picture of a brighter future for them. That's essentially what aspirational means. So a lot of people do it very clunkily. So when you see the internet guys and they're like, look at my collection of yachts that are being anchored to the freaking dock by a giant solid gold rope. I mean, that's aspirational, but it's a little bit clunky. There's not any elegance to it, but it still counts. Still counts as aspirational. You can do a much better job with this. By the way, the next is motivational. Right? Hey, get out there. Like, so many guys right now are in the motivational world in business, right? And they're not even selling motivation, but they try to anchor that motivation. Like how many social media people do you see that are always talking about the grind and the hustle and you can do it and get up early and let's go and let's conquer the day and let's crush it. That's motivational, right? So this is like kind of the emotions that are being felt. And then there's inspirational, right? Which is a little bit deeper. You make them feel inspired towards a greater purpose, okay? So there's other things that you can try to anchor in here, but these are the big ones, right? Notice I'm leaving out controversial. It can be done. Like, I mean, if you unify people against a common enemy, then yeah, that's a great way to create a bond, but really you're just creating a bond with a bunch of people who are mad. So, and it's kind of a dick move, really. So I don't put that in here. But, for people in the comments who are like, hey, what about Trump and all of his methods? And like, yeah, great, whatever, he's adorable. You don't want to be, you don't want to be starting a bunch of crap with people. So we're going to stick to this. So the way we do it is typically the way we create these emotions is going to be through story, okay? And here's the framework, because you can't just tell stories, right? You can't just tell like freaking stories. I mean, you could, but it's not going to help anybody in the long term. So every piece of content is going to follow this framework. Point. All right, so imagine how boring I don't think Grant Cardone could make anything boring, but if he could, imagine how boring his stuff would be if he just made a point. If he was like, here's the point. What you learned in school about money was wrong. The end. Thank you. Like, but you still have to make a point, but there's got to be more to it, right? So this is your main point. It's always going to be around your message, one of your 3 core messages, right? Remember, my man Grant's got 3. Maybe he has more. This is just my observation, by the way. It's not like I discussed this with him or anything. Okay, so there's your point. The next is going to be story, and the next is going to be metaphor. This framework makes up the way that you deliver all of these. So anytime you're delivering something that falls within one of your 3 core messaging pillars, you're going to want to do, to the best of your ability, you're going to want to use the point, story, metaphor framework. I'll give you a quick example. I helped my wife build this one. My wife, Natalia, helps women who have everything but feel guilty about it and that are still not happy. She helps them get out of their own way and get their crap together. All right? And one of her points is, hey, listen, you got to let go of the past. Like right now, your life is amazing. I mean, you got like all this stuff, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have everything and they're still miserable. So she works a lot with folks like that. She's like, look, you got all this stuff, but you're still waking up unhappy. And it's because things happened to you in your past and you just keep hanging on to it. So that's the point, right? She says it way better than me, by the way. I'm trying to give you something that's not marketing, that's like a little bit fresher perspective for you. So that's her point. Now, if she just makes that point, it's going to be hard for someone to really consume it. It might be like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, I get it. Yeah, you're right. But they're not going to have that bond with her. So here's the story, right? This is a true story for her. I'm going to butcher it, so please forgive me, and I'm sorry, honey, for butchering your story, especially in front of all these people in live. Here's the story. So imagine she made the point, right? Hey, holding on to bad experiences is going to screw you up. It's going to ruin your day. It's gone. Forget about it. Here's her story. When I was a kid, I always wanted to speak English. I took English in school, and I wasn't very good at it. My teacher told me I would never, ever learn how to speak English, and I would never come to America, and she failed me for the class. That hurt me. That made me very, very upset. There's your story. She tells it way better than me. There's your story. Now here's the metaphor, okay? Here's the metaphor for that story is this. Every time something bad happens to us, every time we get upset, it's kind of like life is just handing us a big rock. And we've got two choices. We can take that rock and we can hold on to it. We can put it in our backpack that we're carrying on our backs, right? And here's what's going to happen. We're going to take every rock, because bad stuff's going to happen to us no matter what. We can take that rock every time. We can put it in our backpack. But if we keep doing that, eventually we're going to be crushed by the weight of the backpack and we won't be able to move. And then she would close that story by saying, I would have never been able to come to the United States, have a business where I work with English-speaking clients, and have an English-speaking husband and family if I didn't drop that backpack. Okay, so that story, that framework, follows this beautifully. Now you've got the emotion. She's just like me. Now here's the deal. Like when someone sees Natalia, she looks like she's intimidatingly beautiful, if I do say so myself. Okay, and so like people are like, I can't relate to her. So she's got to make herself relatable, right? Because she's not going to like not be good looking. Like she can't do it. It's physically impossible for her not to be good looking. So immediately she's already got to like fix this. So she's making herself relatable. Oh man, bad stuff's happened to her. That's great. She experienced failure in life just like me. That's great. She tells the story. She creates that emotional bond, that affinity. She gives the metaphor to make the point, you see. So this is how, with intent-based branding, this is what you want your content to actually be structured like. Now remember, every single piece has to be supporting one of these core messages that are designed to help your prospect get from here, unhappy, not getting the results that you can help them with, to here. Here's why. The closer that we get to this line here, all right? So if we have this person, this is our prospect, he's watching your stuff on social. The closer that he gets down this line, his desire or her desire to do business with you is going to increase. Why? Well, let's just put this down to the basest level we can. Let's say you're starving. This is a good restaurant. You hungry. This is a good restaurant. The closer you get to the restaurant, the more you can smell the food. What's going to happen? You're going to get about right here, and you're like, I don't give a damn what it costs. I'm going in. I don't care if there's a waiting line. I'm hungry up in here. Hey, party for me. My name's, what's the thing in Caddyshack? Underhill, right? I'm coming in. Reservation on the Underhills. You're barging in there. It's because you're so close to it that you can taste it, right? Metaphorically speaking. See? Huh? Got a little metaphor in you? See? It works. Okay? So the closer you get here for them, the greater their desire is going to be to get the end result, which, because you're the only freaking person in the marketplace that's actually helped them, instead of trying to cram offers down their throat, their trust in you is also going to go up. So as the closer you get here, the more desire and the more trust. And with every experience and every piece of content, you're anchoring to that heightened emotion. All of this stuff is just going to be more powerful. Okay, so let me tie it together for you and show you how the intent-based branding strategy, traffic. I'm trying to do two cameras at once. The intent-based branding, traffic getting strategy works. Okay, so here it is. The first thing you do is you want to create a series of videos, and we will call these.
Frank, I can't do that.
Did you hear that? Is it still working? Because I said series in the Apple voice thing. He thought I was saying S-I-R-I. Oh, there it is over there. That's hilarious. All right, so you're going to want to create a series of, we'll call this Goodwill. I'll say content. I like video best. Okay, and let's say you might want to have like 8 of them. You don't have to create 8 of them all in one day. But ultimately, you're going to want to have like 8 of these things that each one of them is supporting one of your core message pillars. Each one of them is following to the best of your ability the point, story, metaphor, framework. Each one of them is anchoring that emotion to you. For the people that are watching it, they're watching you, they're being helped, they're hearing the story, they're feeling the affinity, they're creating the deep bond, and you're anchoring that emotion to them. You got this. Now, here's where people are going to screw up. Okay, don't make this mistake. Don't just post them on your wall and not send traffic to them. You want to use those videos as ads. Don't make them ads that say, hey, buy my stuff, watch this video, buy my stuff. The ads say, here's a video, enjoy. Like the end, right? Because for the first time ever in the history of mankind, we have the ability to know if someone watched the freaking video because Facebook and all the other platforms will tell us. And they're not going to give us the name and address and phone number and stuff of whoever watched your video, but they're going to say, hey, 20,000 people saw this video yesterday, 500 of them watched the whole damn thing, right? And so now, after a little while, depending on your budget and how aggressive you are, you're going to have this pool of people that have watched this content, some or all of it, right? Enough to be indoctrinated and like you. This is going to be now a warm fan base. And to these people, you can now show ads. And that is how you sell stuff with intent-based branding. That's how the traffic strategy works there. You don't make these like ads. They're not meant to trick anybody. You're literally freaking helping people, okay? Crazy concept. The old demonstrate we can help them by actually helping them trick, okay? Oldest trick in the book. I say trick as a joke there, right? For all the little conspiracy theory guys out there, they're like, internet marketers are evil. Yeah, this is how evil we are, okay? So these help people. You got a segment of people that watch them, and then, boom, you show ads to those people. Now, guess what? How likely do you think they are going to be to respond to the ads? When people already like you before seeing your conversion thing, whether it's, a video sales letter, a webinar, an actual sales letter, getting on the phone with you or whatever, when they already like you, you ain't got to be that good at the marketing. People say, oh man, Frank, if I could write copy like you, I'd be so rich and bleeding. No, dude, you would write like moderately good copy if you could write copy like me. If you could write copy like me, it would take you forever to write copy. The reason I personally sell so much online is because I've been doing this method, just not on social. I've always done it through email. We can do it now on social because here's the final coup de grace, okay? This can happen. You can take a group of people who consume multiple bits of your content. This can happen like that. So if someone sees a video, by the way, most of our videos are on average 8 minutes and 9 seconds. If someone watches one of those today, they're here, they're getting ads tomorrow. It's not like you have to do this for a year. Gone are those days. We can just do this, like accelerate the whole thing. So here's the deal, okay? I'm gonna make you a pitch now. This pitch is not going to be relevant for everybody. Here's the website to take advantage of this if you want to. If you are running ads now, okay, you've got to be running ads now. You have to be a business. You need to be in the 7-figure plus range for this to make sense to you, okay? But if you are running ads now and you want to scale and really build a brand and use this methodology to really dominate your marketplace and not only sell a lot of stuff, clearly, like I know we're not that altruistic, right? But in the same process of doing it, genuinely help people, and as a byproduct of that, be perceived as like the person in the marketplace, not through some kind of crafty positioning move, but by actually freaking helping them. We will do this for you. Kernbranding.com. The way it works is this. I am your creative director personally. I work with you one-on-one, usually not in person. We do it by Skype or by Zoom. We talk every single week, and I help you do two things. Number one, the very first thing is we come up with your three, I did that backwards. We come up with your three core messaging pillars, right? So I help you come up with those. Then every single week, I walk you through the process of, okay, here's the content pieces we need. Here's the type of story we need. Now, your job is to simply talk, okay? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any real work. You can stand there and make like selfie videos or whatever. You can talk into the voice memo app on your phone. Whatever it takes, get me that content that's going to be natural to you anyway, because it's the stuff you naturally talk to your customers and clients about anyway. Our job in-house, like here, show them all the stuff here. So this is just like one room, if you can like kind of show how big the space is here. So we kind of have a lot going on over here. We don't need to really go too crazy with it. But anyway, our job now is to take our in-house production team. I've had the same production team since 2007, so it's a long time. We take our in-house production team and we turn that content into long-form commercials for you. We do it twice a week. So twice a week we make you these long-form commercials. And the output is this. You give us content. I mean, it could be horrible. You don't need to give me, like, the message needs to be good, but it doesn't have to look good. You can make mistakes. Our job is to take what you've given, edit it down, add the music, add the emotion, add the visuals, add the editing style, whether it's Hollywood, gritty, homemade, it doesn't matter. It's up to you and it's up to your market, most importantly. We do that. You are handed on a silver platter the finished product, 2 videos a week. Here's how they're edited. One is long vertical form for IGTV. Another one is whatever you call it there, horizontal form for Facebook ads. Another one, we will extract a 60-second IG post out of it. So your videos, by the way, will end up being about 3 to 8 minutes long every one. We'll extract 60 seconds of them as well for use in Instagram posts. We will add your captions. We'll add the graphics. We'll make them look cool. We'll also edit it for YouTube and provide you with the graphic overlays. You know how every YouTube video has like the cool title thing? And we'll do that based on what the branding needs to support, based on your target demographic and what they need. So we'll do that for you. We will also provide the traffic strategy and manage your traffic and your media for you. So it is really a full, complete, full service agency in the sense that we do this thing and this thing only, which is intent-based branding. So your job is just to talk, all right? I tell you what to say, give you the frameworks, give you the messaging, talk to you every single week, help you get it done. You just talk. We can record a conversation if you want to. It doesn't matter. Then we take it, turn it into these videos, give you the videos, and then manage the traffic to the videos. So we do all of that. If you want to know how it works, go to kernbranding.com. That's K-E-R-N. My name is Kern. Branding.com. And if you're into it, go ahead, fill out the little form. Don't buy anything. You can't buy anything on that page. I want to talk to you first to make sure with 100% certainty that I know we can help you, because it's not cheap. And I don't want to ruin my good record of actually being very good at helping people. So I'm only going to take you if I know we can help you. But if you want to talk to me personally, find out how this works, kernbranding.com, fill out the little form. We'll set up a time to talk, and we'll take it from there. Regardless of what you do, I'm glad that you've been enjoying the content that I've been giving you. I ain't stopping, because this is really, really working. And use the stuff I showed you. Get on it. And have a good night. I think that's it. We can sign off.